Welcome to Universe Extended, our after show discussion on all things Star Wars. We were doing a whole breakdown, and we started Thrawn, but we never finished Thrawn, and I think I just got lazy and too caught up in a bunch of other crap. And now we have a new actual Star Wars show that I'm insanely excited to have a conversation about. Joining me on the mic tonight is Mr. JJ, the wannabe Giants fan, all-time Tigers fan of the show. How are you tonight, right, sir?
You wish I was a Tigers fan. Hell no, man.
I don't even like sports, so it doesn't matter what fan you are to me.
So you're the guy who wears the Go Sports shirt usually in these events?
No, I usually wear a Red Wings shirt because I do like the Red Wings, but I really just don't care about sports. And if, like, how about this? If sports disappeared, I just wouldn't care that much. I genuinely would not care. I'm sorry. I know that's like one of the worst things to say, but I just would not care if sports disappeared. My life would be not impacted at all. But if Star Wars disappeared, I would be highly impacted and very offended, especially because I'm almost done reading a new book that I didn't even know existed till about 2 weeks ago called Shadow of the Sith, which is between the episode 6 and episode 7. And it's a brand new book that came out this year. And it's about Rey's family. Yeah. I was like, oh my God.
Did not know that.
I didn't either. It showed up in my recommended, and I was like, I don't want to read this legacy stuff. But it's really good. Like, I actually am very weirded out by how good this book is.
Is there an audiobook to it? Because I'll pick that up in Audible in a heartbeat. So.
Yep, it's I don't actually read books. They're only on Audible. I don't buy books anymore.
Yeah, same here. Yeah, all right, awesome. I gotta definitely put that on my list because I'm definitely gonna want to read that. Absolutely.
Yeah, it provides. I think it's one of those things where it's like a retrospective after the fact. Like they created episode 7, 8, 9, and then they're like, oh hey, let's make a book about in between there. But essentially, like, it's about Luke and Lando who team up, which is crazy, right? Because like we never think about those things, but Luke and Lando team up to essentially talk about the stuff between the two episodes, and they essentially are looking into why is Luke having visions about the dark side? Is there more Sith acolytes out there? And how did Rey get abandoned by her parents? And again, I still have like 5 hours left, so I don't know. They technically are still all together, but we know Rey gets abandoned to some extent, right? And we know that her father is Palpatine's son clone, however you want to categorize that. So, I don't know. It's been a very interesting book so far. I'll say it's weird because it's not Mark Thompson, right? Like narrating it, but it's still really good. And whoever's doing, I don't remember the guy's name. It's William Demerit. Not as good as Mark Thompson, but I will tell you, this dude can do a Lando impression to like fucking rival the actual actor. Like, it's good. It's good. Like, really good. I like it a lot. I wonder if
some of the voiceover for Lando and some of the other like Star Wars like games and stuff like that. So because I know Billy D has done some of the voice acting as well, but I'm definitely really interested in that.
Yeah, it's good. Like, you should, everybody should read every Star Wars book, but I think this one is actually really good though. I'll be honest. But that's not why we're here tonight. We're here to talk about Andor. So if you are still on from our earlier stream, you got 5 seconds, because in 5 seconds it's spoiler alertville. It's like that song Margaritaville, but instead, spoiler alertville. Damn it, somebody edit that song and get me that song clip of Spoilerville instead of Margaritaville. Da, 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 da. Yes, somebody do that, because I don't know how to sing. Where's Dion when you need him?
Yeah, right.
All right, so you've been warned. It's been 5 seconds. We officially are going to be talking about Andor spoilers.
Let's do it.
All right. I'm going to say, I'm going to give my first impression really short, sweet. It's amazing. I have only one gripe out of the whole 3 episodes. And I'm going to stop because I like to talk a lot. And I've already talked a lot for this episode. And I'm going to turn it over to JJ. JJ, give me your first 2 to 3 minute breakdown of Andor.
Extremely disappointed that there was only 3 episodes to start off with. I had to major with that. But no, I absolutely loved it. They did a lot of world building around Cassian's background for it. There's quite a bit of like time jumps between when he was a kid to where he was presently. They kind of went in a little bit of a different direction than I thought they would go, just based on things that he said previously in Rogue One, about him like being in the fight since he was 6 years old. But I did enjoy it a lot, because this is a Cassian that is just starting out. He has skills, he has raw skills that he's developed over the time since he was a kid that he's been taught down. And then just further develops that in, to help himself out in his search for his sister that he had lost. And now he meets this this rebel spy, basically, that sees the potential in Cassian and wants to help develop. And just that whole scene where he's talking with Cassian and trying to essentially try to get him to see the bigger picture of what's going on, to like recruit him for it, and that exit from their planet. Man, that was just great build up. I enjoyed that so much. They have a great cast of supporting characters, and I was just really excited to see what's coming next.
Yeah. So I think a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, there was 1,000,000 hours of build up and it didn't exceed to anything. And I was like, yeah, if it was a movie. Oh no, did I lose JJ? If it was a movie, I would understand to some extent. Like, I don't want to sit through an hour and a half and have so much buildup that we get to the last 20 minutes and everything like commulates, or whatever you want to say that word. You know. But I think the big thing here, right, is that this buildup is meant for a 12 episode arc, right? Like, we got 2 episodes of buildup, and now we're gonna get like 9 more episodes. And to think that if they didn't spend the time building it up, like, I don't know what to say, folks. Like, to me, that was necessary. Like, and I didn't find anything but one gripe. I have one gripe in the whole thing. Other than that, I didn't find anything else boring at all. Like, I was on the edge of my seat the whole time. I actually had to take a phone call, and then I had to put my kids to bed. Like, I had to get them ready to say, hey, can you take the dogs out? Can you do all these other things? And blah, blah. And, you know, they tried to give me the excuse of, well, Dad, it's not over yet. And I was like, yeah, I know, but one of you's under a blanket not watching it. The other one's on your iPad with the headphones on. Like, I don't think you're paying attention. So y'all go scoot to bed. If you wanted to, you know, not go to bed early or on time, you should have paid attention. But anyway, anyway, my one gripe. So I'm gonna give my one gripe, because I do have a gripe, and I think his name is Tim, right? The guy that Cassian's friend was dating, that co-owns, from what I understand, that salvage shop.
Yeah.
Tim is a pre-set up construct of how do we get to the next scene. Like, he had to call the wannabe Empire police to come over to find Cassian to create this whole dilemma. Like, they openly stated there was not like any other hits into this like reach out call except for this one guy. One guy called. That's it. One tip throughout the whole galaxy. One tip. And then this guy, you could tell, is an asshole. Like, he doesn't like that Cassian is friends with his girlfriend. And I understand the jealousy. I get it. But that's just this. To me, that's poor writing. That piece, that little catalyst piece, is such a poor writing that it stands out to such an extent for me. Just like, it's like, I just want to be like, you couldn't find another way to get them there. You couldn't figure out, oh, well, we could see all the ships leaving orbit, and this one went in a weird direction compared to the other ones, and this one went faster parsecs versus the other. I mean, come on. There's like 100 other ways you could fabricate them finding it, except for the jealous lover. And by the way, Cassian doesn't even seem interested in her. He doesn't hit on her the whole time.
Well, I think because she was more interested in him than he was interested in her, honestly. But um, I mean that didn't bother me too much. I did like that they used Mike Myers' fat bastard as the go getter guy in to like move the army in. He that whole company part, like just seeing like that whole corporate side in Star Wars, where like you have this newer younger commander, right, who's all like gung ho about the rules and stuff, and the other guy's like, yeah, we should probably not report this because we don't want the Empire to come in and start looking at stuff that we don't want them to look into, and you should probably just file it as an accident report and nothing else. And I expect to see that report, and the other guy's like, no, I'm just going to turn this into a whole murder investigation, and you pretty much just killed your entire security team, like
Yeah.
in doing all this and just not filing the damn report. I definitely like enjoyed seeing like that dynamic for it. The other piece was actually the ship that they took to go into where Cassian was. I forgot the name of the planet. It was holding in and docking like demilitarized versions of the LAT. Which they ended up taking to go into the atmosphere in it. And I thought that was a very interesting piece there. Now, relating it to X-Wing, do you think that this could lead to a scum lat, like, or at least a lat version of us, kind of like a scum lat, like a corporate lat?
Do I think that they will reutilize the lat in other factions? Yes. I think this 100% does that for me. And I feel that it's highly possible we could get a scenario pack or something that would expand it into Rebel and into Scum. 100%. I could even see it going into Empire a little bit too. Personally.
Yeah.
So the answer is yes. Now, can we go back to the corporate piece of it where this guy does something incorrect compared to what his officer like states that they should do? Because I think the key piece, and I'm gonna create a prediction, and I know they're not gonna kill Tim off, or what was that guy's name? I don't even remember what that guy's name is. Nobody told me what this guy's name. I know he has a name.
Yeah, I forget. Yeah.
What is it?
I forget his name. Yeah, I forget his name too.
Whatever Commander, I'm gonna call him Commander Dipshit, because that's how I see him. Is an overzealous asshole. And we're gonna come back to this because I think, I'll be honest, I think this is a huge focal point, in my opinion, of this whole series. Is just the way that this is coming together. I feel is gonna play out, and this shows the ineptitude of the Empire, like because of the combination between these two people create the reason why you can actually not have a sustainable large empire that does these type of things. And I'm going to state this because the first thing is this guy wanted to go after it. What did his commander tell him? He told him he's pretty sure that these two guys instigated it and they got what they deserved. They got what they deserved, which is a very empire-ish, like they don't care about murdering people. They're just two peas in a pod. These guys got murdered because they did go after Cassian. And it was a fact. They basically showed us. They spent 20 minutes giving us this whole layout about how these two Empire pieces of shit were doing nothing but hassling Andor, who was not doing anything wrong. And that is the downfall. And that is like, if we want to talk about the core episodes, right? The core movies, that is the whole crux of why the Empire fails, is because of this, and that's why Sith fail, is because of this large wannabe consumption of power. And if we talk about, and I guess I'm tangenting a little bit, but we talk about the Rule of Two, right? The Rule of Two talks about why you can't have all these other Siths because of that. And if you go back and read any of the older books that talk about, when the Sith were like in the thousands against the Jedis in the thousands, why it fails and why the Rule of Two was created and why Pelp is very wannabe, hedging his bets on this Rule of Two. It is because of this type of mentality. Is some guy recognized it was dumbasses that got themselves killed. Let's move on. And somebody goes, I'm a young hotshot. I need to make more money. I need to be more popular. I need this power. Therefore, I'm going to come in and do an investigation and threaten my whole team. And guess what? It all backfires. All of it. Because what else did the commander say? What else did that commander say? He said, if these guys are good enough to do this, we probably don't want to fuck with them. He calls it. He calls it. He laid it out. You could have ended the episodes right there and just moved into Cassian working for the rebels. He's just this dude. That dude should be given a medal. And I bet you next episode he's gonna get murdered. I bet you they're gonna fucking kill that commander. He's gonna somehow blame it on his commander, and that dude's gonna die. And it's all because of this young kid.
I think he's going to double down with that bastard and try to still go after Cassian with even more people somehow.
No, I agree with you. And he's going to get promoted. We see he gets promoted in the trailers. He's promoted. So I think he's going to kill his commander or get his commander killed. His boss, who's going to come back from his trip dealing with the Empire, he's going to out him and then going to say, because you didn't support me, I had to do this on my own, and I'm not trained to do this. Therefore, I got everybody killed, basically. And it's all because of you. And if you'd done something, we wouldn't have died. And then they're going to murder that guy. That's my prediction for the next 2 episodes. Seriously.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, the other guy said that, he hates when, these people become complacent and do nothing at the site of disorder and stuff. So yeah, I mean they absolutely set the stage for the old commander to die. Absolutely.
Yeah. And now we could talk a little bit and this I don't want to spend too long on this, but let's talk a little bit just for a second. In our world, right? We know cops harass people. If somebody kills a cop, right? This mentality, this is commentary on our life, right? This guy is essentially the bad cop. That's yeah, they were cops. They still didn't deserve to be murdered, but they were harassing a guy. Yeah, they were going to rob the guy. Yeah, but still they shouldn't be murdered. You're well, what should you do? Well, they should just not do those things. Well, how do you prevent that? Well, I don't know. This guy's not talking about reform. He's talking about how the Empire was built.
Yeah, that's true.
And this is why Palpatine's world fails right here. Palpatine took it beyond 2 Sith. He wanted to rule the fucking worlds, and he fails because he doesn't prepare.
And even when you look at some of the other books that we read, like in the Thorn books, you see Palp just basically playing people against each other, to compete for power, and that's what he basically enjoys. He just wants to make people dance, so that way he can show off his, that he's in control of everything. That's how he manages the Empire, and that trickles down across the board throughout most of Star Wars lore for the Empire. Yeah.
All right, let's go back to Andor now, because I feel that the way they set this up, my theory in the way they set this whole thing up, is that because there is a 12-episode arc with, I didn't know this, but I guess they've committed to another 12 episodes. I don't know if they've recorded them or not, but this is a 24-episode series to some extent. Season 1, season 2, blah, blah, blah. But I think, which is so exciting because of Saw. For me, Saw is I cannot wait till Saw appears. I hate Saw and X-Wing, but as a character, I love Saw Gerrera. I really I identify very closely with that revolutionary individual. That's me. If we ever get in a revolutionary, that's going to be me with the bionic arms and the leg and the I smoked too much weed. Now I can't smoke weed anymore. I don't have any lungs. And just wanting to murder people. Yeah, you killed a bunch of people. We're not going to play nice anymore. I love Saw. Saw is actually, honestly one of my favorite characters other than Thrawn in the whole Star Wars lore. Love Saw. Anyway, I feel that these episodes created a new space and a new way of storytelling than we've had before because they didn't rely on us having to have all this other knowledge of a million other Star Wars things. Like, you don't have to know that this is a rebellion being built. They are taking you through the steps. And that's why I
Exactly.
really like Rogue One. Like, I actually went and saw Rogue One in the theater a month ago with my stepson because they put it in IMAX, which is really cool, actually. I liked
Yeah,
it.
I really wanted to see that. I didn't get a chance. Yeah.
I had a lot of fun. Him and I had a lot of fun that day seeing that. I was, oh my God. Anyway, to me, that whole culmination of how they did Rogue One, this is going to be that same stuff. To me, this feels like a very similar type of storytelling that's leading up to everything. It's gritty. It doesn't need to be
Yes.
perfect. They are openly admitting mistakes that they've made. They are openly saying the rebellion is not really this cushy, lovey-dovey, we built ourselves up from nothing and not murdering people. That's not what the rebellion is. And I feel like this is an adult version of extension of Rebels. Like,
Yeah,
because Rebels,
and
I think, is one of the best, hands down, one of
series
the
of all
best
of them.
series.
Yeah, and the other part of it too is that they definitely like had a little more suggestive scenes too, specifically with the girl when she goes into the bed and she has the come hither moment. That kind of like took me off because I have my kids watching, and of course that flies over their head, and then like she's like starting to disrobe. I'm like, wait, what? Like, is this like an HBO? Like, what's like? It just caught me off guard because you've never seen that in Star Wars before, but I found that funny. But beyond that, just just them expanding on like his history, right? Because obviously when they go to the flashbacks for when he was a kid, and that it seemed like a tribe, right? Like that they were just
Yeah.
living that. That I was confused at like what era that was, but because there were humans that came out of the ship and started like that killed his mother, obviously, and later on they make mention that the Republic is coming and we need to get out of here. So it's like if they're saying that the Republic is coming, then was that a CIS ship that crashed,
Yes,
right?
I think so. They
Or
had
yeah,
they look like they had CSI or CIS logos on their jersey. If you go back and watch it, that's what it looks like.
okay,
I'm not. I couldn't tell because it's so far away. They could
yeah,
technically be Empire logos, but I think they're CIS logos. I think they're separatist
yeah,
logos.
yeah. So I was just like I was like a little like just confused like at like what exactly that ship was carrying that needed to get shot down by the Republic, right? Because there's obviously no other like backup fleets or anything like that like to escort it, or like no support droids or anything like that to support it or anything, or even any droids in the center for like internal security. So I just that kind of threw me off on like what that was. And I found that part like really interesting. I half expected that the transponder that he had found was actually going to be in the ship where they originally found him. But then when they established that Republic is coming, I'm like, oh, okay, I guess that's not where he found it. But yeah, like I found that piece really really interesting, and obviously, and I'm pretty sure that the ship that the Rebel spy was flying, that was at least a form of a decimator, for what I could tell, right? It was a different version of the decimator.
Yeah, I think it was smaller. It felt smaller than the Decimator, but yes, I
Okay.
could see the similarity to it. I couldn't pin it either because I don't I had not seen one similar to it. How about that? So that I was a little
Yeah.
confused by that as well. I didn't look it up. I guess I should have done that before the show. Is look up if that ship actually had a name from something else that we just didn't know.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I just started like looking through like my Armada list and see if I could identify there. But yeah, I couldn't like quite identify like some of the other stuff there. Okay. So the other part I want to talk about is the other, star of the show, B2EMO. Man, I loved that droid. That droid was great. I loved it. It's like unintentional sarcasm that he speaks. But I absolutely love him as a supporting character for this show so far, and I can't wait to see if they actually bring him back in the series to help out Cassian, or if he eventually becomes the basis on how they reprogram K2SO.
All right. I didn't think about that. That's interesting, right? Like maybe he goes back to the world 3 episodes later, 4 episodes later, and his mother is no longer, and the droid is just there, doesn't know what to do, and is in such disarray. He takes the droid, can't repair it because he doesn't know how to do that shit, and transfers the consciousness or whatever you want to call it into K2SO.
Yeah,
Okay, that's a good prediction. I like that. I that would fit the theme of the show as well. Um,
yeah,
you know what the other thing?
because
Go ahead.
yeah, I was gonna say because because I was watching Rogue One right before I started watching Andor, and I was like, K2SO is weirdly attached to Cassian, and
Yeah,
that's something you don't see even with like C3PO and R2D2 and their behaviors. When you relate them with like Anakin, for instance, or even Luke later on, like they don't share that same type of attachment to their creator, I guess if you would say, like the way K2SO was with Cassian.
all right, yeah, I can see that, and I think that's a really good point. And you know what? Does when does Cassian die?
5 years, or I'm sorry,
Or
four
not
and a half
Cassian,
years
I'm
after the
sorry,
show.
K2SO. Because I don't
He,
remember
he
seeing
dies
him
in Rogue
blow
One.
up. Does he?
Yeah, he does in the vault scene when they're about to get the plans and
That's
he
right.
sacrificed
That's right.
himself to
You're right.
lock the vault. Yeah.
Yep. But did we actually see him die?
Yes, because the Death Star blows up the
Oh, that's right.
entire.
Because he was just dying on the planet. Never mind. Never mind.
He did get shot
Spoiler
by
alert.
the Star.
Um, I don't know. I think that's a good theory. I could see that. I would actually I think that would be a very good tie-in that they could do. I do really like that droid though. I think they're getting more creative on how they do some of these droids comparatively. And how about this? I will disagree with you on R2D2 in the aspect of I believe R2D2 is similar. He just doesn't have the motor function to give you the language because everybody somehow understands R2D2. I
Sure.
don't know how they understand him, but somehow they do.
Same thing with BB-8, right? Because
Yeah.
he just has beeps. Yeah.
Yep. But I feel that it's there. And if you go back and actually, if you watch the Resistance show, BB-8 has a huge, huge
Yeah.
draw to Poe. Like it's like, oh my
Fair point.
God.
I didn't think about
Um,
that. Yeah, fair point.
so I think that it's been established, and I think this is creating a new format for them to relinquish some of that. Like, right, it's creating a new way for it to go through. And I'll tell you what, if the ending episode is them transferring um the consciousness into K2SO is the last thing they do in the episode or in the show for this season, I will tell you that that show has superseded The Mandalorian for me. That will 100% be better than The
Mm,
Mandalorian. Nope.
we'll see. We'll see. Because that's pretty big shoes to fill.
Nope.
Okay. But it does have the potential, I'll tell you that. But still have it has a very good start so far. But I think it still has it has to maintain it. And this is the trick, right? Because Mandalorian, because it only had 10 episodes for the first season, they had to condense the storyline and the development a lot more into their episodes to help develop the characters, as the time went on for it. Um, and they're brand new characters on top of that, right? Like we had no real motion on who these characters were, barring Ahsoka and Luke whenever they appeared. Um, Andor doesn't have that. They have 12 episodes, which they've taken the first three to really like set up, the whole world around Cassian. But we do already know what he will eventually become. So carrying that momentum into a character that which we know what his fate is going to be eventually, and maintaining that same hype level over a longer span. Granted, there's only 2 more episodes more than Mandalorian was in the first season, is a lot more difficult in this case. So I have cautious optimism that they're going to do great with it. Disney has done pretty good work so far for most of their shows, not Book of Boba. Um, so I kind of give them that cautious optimism for it.
I don't know. I think if they, I don't care if they. I will say it right now. If they move the droid into K2SO, to me and maybe it's just because it's the Rogue One, like, which is one of my favorite movies like ever. Like I feel Rogue One is how all Star Wars should have been. Like I almost feel like they should reshoot some of these other movies to make them more like Rogue One. Like personally, I just
Well,
really like Rogue One.
if you're interested in reboots, I mean, we can eventually discuss about the impact of Ezra and the World Beyond Worlds. I mean, just saying.
We could, and that is a thing. I don't disagree with you. I think that's it. I don't know. I just like, to me, Rogue One felt this is what a rebellion is, right? And like, I'll be honest with you, the reason I don't play a lot of Rebels in X-Wing is not just because I didn't own all the ships, but I find it a lot of boring, right? And when we go back and watch the original, movies, you're building up, we're building up to this rebellion, but then all of a sudden we get Rogue One, and it's like, this is what all the first 3 movies should have been. This is what 4, 5, and 6 should have been like. Like, there's so much more. And again, I think it's now we're going to talk a little bit. I guess we're not going to talk about it, but this is Chris. This is me explaining why, like, I believe intelligence evolves, right? And I believe that's why we get newer stories and different things that are different than we've ever had before. And that's because things adapt and evolve, and they become people become more intelligent, and all these other things, and you learn from things, right? And I feel that Rogue One is a better telling of how a rebel squad would work together than we had in episodes 4, 5, and 6. And I don't think that's like a fault of George Lucas's, right? Like I think it's the time period. You have the 70s. You don't have the internet. You don't have all these other things that we have access to now. Like, we don't have the research on how rebellions work in the same manner. Like, yes, America is a rebellion. Like, we were a rebellion. Like, we were supposed to be an all-inclusive rebellion against, the English Empire, right? But I think a lot of these things get lost because a lot of us have never been involved in this shit. But now that we have the ability to retell things in such a different manner, if we honestly sat down and, like, if you and I had to go back to the 1700s and be part of that, like, I feel Rogue One categorizes how a rebellion works so much more than what we've been talking about. And I hate extending this, but again, I could go back to World War II. Look how long it took for America to get involved in World War II against, the Nazis and stuff like that. And look how much damage they did. And finally we came back in. And finally we started putting a firepower and stuff like that. But look at all those little countries that were fighting back against Germany saying, hell, hey, somebody come here. Come on. Like, we had these people are awful. They're murdering Jews. They're murdering gay people. Like, what the hell? Like, what's wrong with all these? Why are they just murdering people? That's not how we do things, right? And then finally everybody woke up and said, oh shit, maybe we should be a part of this. Rogue One is the wake-up call to me. Like, to me, that is the wake-up call for the rebellion. I don't know.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, that's the single moment where, like, the rebellion has to decide where they're either going to, bow and to the overwhelming show of power, which is the Death Star at that point, or go in and fight and try to find a way. And and they coined the term very perfectly. The rebellions are built on hope, and Rogue One, just for them to go in and try to save the rebellion and save the dream, just like Saul wanted to, by going in and trying to get those Death Star plans to take down the Empire. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah. feel like I just threw a lot of shade at George Lucas, and I feel like I'm gonna get a lot of hate for that. Hopefully, you all don't. I mean, I'm
No, you,
sorry.
no
Like
shade. No shade
we,
intended. No shade.
it's not like I mean we things evolve, and I just
Yeah,
feel
simple.
I
Like,
feel
George
like
was limited by the technology of his time. That's not really a critique. It's just it's a fact. Like he was limited by the tech of his time. They didn't have like the advanced computer graphics that we have now or CGI. So
and that,
it's just limited.
I don't think that they had the library of material to understand rebellions in the same way, nor the budget, right? Like I think that's a big thing is like, and we talk about like for example, I'm a big fan of John Oliver's show, right? I'll just make it known there you go, I'm a liberal, blah blah blah. I love John Oliver. They have a lot of people that write that do nothing but sit around and like find clips and do all these things. Like, oh my god! And it's because it's a multi-million-dollar corporation funding this. You know, um, we have different things than we did in the 70s. Like nobody thought Star Wars would be a thing. And I love those documentaries. I mean, I love the story of how this was basically something from nothing and people just were like, we love this. We identify those. But I don't know, like to me, like again, not a big fan of Rebels and X-Wing. But
You
to
mean
me,
that Harrison Dula and the Phoenix Squadron does not inspire you to fly a damn BCX and a Rebel TIE fighter?
all right, it does a little bit actually. Two VCXs. There you go. Give me Callus
And
and Hera.
on top of that, she was in Rogue One. They called her by name, and she flew the Ghost in Rogue One. Man,
I know.
come on.
I know. I don't like Rebel. I'm sorry. I like my CIS. But anyway, but like I really just feel that Rogue One was this defining movie that people overlook. Like I just like and there's a lot of hate that goes into the newer movies that I don't agree with either. And that's why I get called like, oh my god, like you're just like a Star Wars enthusiast. You like anything that they put out. I didn't like Boba Fett. There you go. I openly stated that shit. Like I'm sorry. Like that I did really like Obi-Wan, but I feel Andor has like superseded that with these 3 episodes. Like and I think it was well placed that they did all 3 at once, right? I think that was very well timed. Like whoever marketed that is a genius. Like props to you, baby. Because that was a smart move. Because I'll tell you what, I literally sat at the edge of my seat. I'm dead serious. On Wednesday night, I sat at the edge of my seat and was yelling at my TV and applauding it. And I don't normally applaud things, and I had been drinking a little bit, but I was so fucking excited by the end of that. Like I was like, give me episode 4 right now. I'm done. I'm going to drive to fucking Hollywood. I'm going to kill some people. They don't give me episode 4. I know it's already done. Just give it to me. Stop making me wait. I want my Netflix. Sorry. But I felt that this represents the books so much better than we ever get. Like this felt like more of taking a book and making it a movie. And it felt more Game of Thrones-ish. How about there you go. And that's let's talk seasons 1 through 4 or 1 through 5 of Game of Thrones. That's what this felt like. Very well developed.
Exciting part.
Huh?
The exciting part of Game of Thrones, yes.
Yeah, I think all of the series of Game of Thrones is great until you hit like season 6-ish. Yeah, I still like it. I still like it. It's just not as good. Like, you know why? It's because George hadn't finished writing all of them. That's why. Like, so like the guys were going off of, and like, again, it's like list building. Think about it. Like, you're a list builder, and I'll tweak your list. That's how I feel the guys at Game of Thrones were. They're like, ooh, all these books, I could tweak it and make a good move or a good show out of it. That's how I feel. Like, like they're not story developers, and that's where they failed.
Yeah.
But when they have something to go on, they worked very well. I feel like this, because there's so much that they have fleshed out between these time periods, that's what we're getting. We're getting a more book style show than we've ever gotten before.
Yeah, I agree.
And I'm here for it. I'm just telling you right now, I'm here for it. And I'll be the first to tell you when I'll critique it. I hated Tim's. Fuck Tim's. Fuck that guy. Lazy writing. Everything else, except for, okay.
You said hello.
One thing I didn't understand, and I hope they go into this, is remember we saw those trailers of the guy beating the main drum, right? And I never understood what that was. And then all of a sudden they had the episode, and all of a sudden everybody's beating the drum. Like, I want a discussion. I want a explanation for that.
Yeah.
That's genius.
Yeah,
and how did they
right.
get everybody across the city to do that, no matter what?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're right. I didn't think about that piece. Yeah, you're right.
Crazy, right?
'Cause- yeah, and then they all stopped when Cassian got to the house. Like that was like a signal for some reason. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe it was a coincidence when it happened, but yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I want that piece, even if it's just 5 minutes. I want the answer to that. I think, like, and maybe that's a mystery we'll never know. But I thought that was really good writing, and that took me by surprise right there.
Yeah.
That whole thing took me by surprise.
Yeah, man.
I don't know. I'm excited. It's a
Yeah,
new
can't wait for next
a
Wednesday.
new leaf. I'm sad. I thought Bad Batch was coming out this week. I'm very sad now because I was
Well,
so excited
I
to have
told you.
2 Star Wars shows, two of them, and I love Bad Batch.
Well-
Honestly,
I think then we're going to. Oh no, we're not. No, never mind. I was gonna say we're gonna have Bad Batch and then overlap with Mando, but Mando is like February or March.
it'll be an overlap. We're gonna get Tales of the Jedi next.
Oh, I'm excited for
And
that.
that's October. Yeah, and if they do the, like, I finished Visions a month ago, and I ended up really liking that show, more than I thought I would.
Which there is another season of that coming out, so I'm excited to see what they do. Like, it would be great if they actually gave a lot of those studios the rights to actually do a proper story, because there's quite a few studios that had a really good story for what they developed, even though none of those stories are canon for obvious reasons. But I think that they have the potential to deliver a very good story for Star Wars, even if it has nothing to do with any of the main characters, anything like that. I'm actually a-okay with that because that gives them more freedom. But it would be nice to see them actually hire those studios to do proper canon Star Wars work and see where they take it, especially if they could do like space battle scenes. Oh my gosh, man, I would absolutely love that. That would be amazing.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm excited for it. I will tell you, I'm not as excited as Bad Batch though. Even with this Tales of the Jedi, I'm still not. They haven't brought me in like Bad Batch did.
Okay, Yaddle. That's the number one thing I'm really excited about, and Sifo Dyas.
Sifo
Yaddle-
Dyas, I'm very excited about. Yes, it'd be nice to flesh that out.
Yeah, because we see a moment where we see Count Dooku fighting Yaddle, and Yaddle we only saw briefly in the Jedi Council room in Episode 1, and then she disappears. And this is probably maybe around the time where Grogu first appears somewhere. So I would hope that there will be a little more backstory to that in relation to Yaddle, maybe, and we get a little more information on Grogu there. From Tales of the Jedi, and he might make a cameo. We don't know, but it would be awesome if they did include that in that series. So
Yeah, wouldn't that be? Oh man, wouldn't that be a twist? The last episode in that arc is the origins of Baby Yoda. Oh my god! Like, oh, that's spicy. That's a spicy. All right, you got me a little bit more renewed. I'm more excited for the Dooku Asajj action. I'm hoping we get some Asajj out of this. That's what I'm kind of hoping for. Because it'd be nice to have Asajj and CIS hint AMG.
or a young Dooku in Republic.
No, you can't have no.
With a different ability.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No
Yes.
Dooku for you.
It's coming.
No, you can
It's
have Qui-Gon
coming.
Jinn. You can have Qui-Gon Jinn. No Dooku.
Yeah, Qui-Gon Jinn and what, a Delta 7, right?
Qui-Gon Jinn can stand in the lat and direct and coordinate people. There you go. I'm gonna have you out some shields. There you go. I'll help you regenerate a shield.
No, he trains people how to become Force ghosts, so you can say
All right. There you go. Yes, he can. Oh, there you go. Like a tell ability where you could sacrifice your ship Damn, that's a good one. You could sacrifice your ship to bring another ship back at 1 health.
Oh gosh.
Oh, doesn't matter what ship it is. It could come back. Now, the caveat would be is that once the points are scored, you couldn't get the points back. So it would just come back to help you kill things. Damn it. Why did we? Damn, we missed that. That's a good ability. So like think about it on your lat. Your lat's at 2 health. You trigger Qui-Gon to murder your lat. And then after you murder the lat, you bring back another ship at over range 3 of every other ship. So it has to be outside of range 3 of every other ship on 1 health. Points are already scored.
I mean, yeah, like a Tel Trevora type of thing. Yeah.
Except for all the points are scored. So let's say you bring an Anakin back. You can't like all of a sudden go, ooh, I'll get these points back. I'm going to get all my 7 points back. You don't get any points back. It is literally a comeback to all of a sudden here comes Ada Anakin. Oh my God. Here comes Ada Anakin ready to kill you right behind you. Oh, so spicy. So spicy. Oh, this would be so good.
As long as he doesn't have Juke and Malice on him, yeah.
No. If he has it, I don't know. A D7. I don't know what a D7 is. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, in comic, yes. Okay. Yep. Yeah, I would take Qui-Gon in a Delta 7 too, actually. But I still think a crew there. We should mint that card. Like we should just create our own X-wing. We should just like be like, oh, we're gonna create our own X-wing. Anyway, we're really you're falling into my tangent. That's what's happening. I tangent like crazy, especially at 11:30 at night. All right, so I'm excited about Andor. Do we get new episodes every week? Is come out again this week?
Yeah, okay. Wednesday. Yeah.
All right.
And then Thursday, She-Hulk, which I'm enjoying very thoroughly. But yeah, excited.
Yeah, I enjoy She-Hulk too, but unless they merge them together somehow, that's a whole different universe. And
I don't want to see Vader versus Thanos or anything. No, hell no.
I kind of do. What's the name of that YouTube mashups? They have like these rap battles.
So what's the deathmatch?
No, they have rap battles. What are the rap battle ones?
Oh yeah, it is rap battles. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I don't remember who makes that. There's some company that makes it, but those like when they do I want to see a Vader versus Thanos one. There you go. Somebody tell them that. I don't even know if they still exist. But anyway,
probably. But.
Anyway, we will be back with a new Universe Extended episode next week after our normal podcast because why not? Like we'll be talking about Andor every week until it's done. Like we just won't help ourselves. That's what we're going to do. If you like what we're doing, you can subscribe, follow us. Links, you can scan the shit below, or you can find the links in the description. Thank you, JJ, for joining me on our Andor journey tonight. We will be back next week, 9 p.m. Eastern time. Or if you don't like our podcast and just want to talk about Andor, we'll be back at 11 p.m. Eastern time to talk about Andor. Thank you. Have a good night, and we'll see you next week.
See ya.